away. Off the bat, we see the Gangplank being banned away, followed by that Tahm-Kench.
Yeah, so Tahm-Kench being taken away from Ejim, he would be having a chuckle because word on the street is leading up to the OPL final, he thought he was crap on the character, so he put a heck of a lot of work in solo queue to make it work. He actually said it in one of the interviews after the day. Doesn't like playing disengaged supports, but gets one banned away from him.
Yeah, and wisely enough, they ban away that Gnar. And of course, Chiefs getting away with the Vladimir. Swiffer maybe still has a little bit of memories of...
Yeah, having some flashbacks, you know, PTSD, just get it off the board. Means that they're probably going to look to priority pick Talia again.
Sure. Oh, actually banning it away themselves.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. Wonder what the idea is behind that, but let's see what they can do with it. And KMV final ban, just waiting on that one to pop on through. Will be the Cassiopeia, so very mid lane focused, 2 top laners and a support here.
That's actually what we're used to seeing out of the Chiefs, and you can see a very big
that's what he wanted
grin.
to play.
Yeah, it was. So they definitely were looking at that. You can see Spooks is quite stumped as well. And Swiper's just staring at his mid laner.
Well, it's time for Lissandra. She's available, and
I don't know if it's first pickable, though.
Oh, definitely not first pickable, but what are they going to go with here? We've seen the Jhin be first picked a few times here, but they are going to go with the Tracker Rek'Sai for Spooks here. Let's see how KMV answer. We've seen Kalista in one of the games. Not too crash hot, but didn't really get a chance to shine.
All right, that's actually hilarious. Kalista, yeah, I agree. You know, you're not great at the moment. There's a couple of different builds you can go. You can still rush Hurricane. You can go for something like a Youmuu's Ghostblade. I don't like when you go Bork first, although we also still see that. So we'll see what the Fox wants to go with if he does pick up the Kalista. Late game, still incredibly potent, I think is the biggest thing. Highly mobile champion, you know, able to bound around these team fights, get the Ren sets going, and really stack up a lot of damage. And great objective secure. So do like Kalista still. But you're right, doesn't have that potent early game that we were used to seeing in the past.
It just seems like the champions with skill shots and the ability to harass without relying on their auto attacks are the ones shining through here, and there's no one who kind of does that better than Lucian. They've had to tone him back a few times just to deal with that, so they are going to be locking the Lucian away as well as the Braum, so with that double tap passive as well as the concussive blows. Very potent bot lane here.
That is a potent bot lane, but that is also really brave because the Chiefs play double range support all the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, something like a Caitlyn and Karma is very high potential of coming out of the Chiefs bottom lane. I don't know whether you run Lucian into these lanes all that much because he does get punished.
We'll have to see what they go with here. We know that the Foxy has an interesting champion pool, to say the least here, so maybe likes to play against the grain, try to make his own things happen here, and see if Chiefs pick up that Jhin. Very popular AD carry throughout the tournament so far, and they do get the Shen as well. We saw what wonders a good Shen play can make in game number 1.
Yeah, certainly did, and the 2 big counter picks really off the table, so probably expecting a Maokai to come out of Elements, to be honest. Cannon, I guess, can have an okay time, but...
Echo's still open as well? But
yeah. Echo pushes Shen out,
yeah,
but doesn't really... have the kill threat that you look for, and also Shen just stands up in the split push incredibly well as he gets 2 or 3 items. So, you know, you do have to get him there. You're correct. Echo has a better early game for sure.
But like you mentioned, just being able to prevent some of that oncoming damage, especially to execute on the passive with that W, is just such a valuable resource to have.
It's also, you deny the 3rd hit, right? So he throws out his Q, W comes up, you know, can't get anything out, can't get the speed boost, kind of caught in. So Trundle, that'll be interesting.
So they just want to go with the classic here, but another very auto attack reliant character is that Trundle, but they will be able to negate kind of that tanky stats that Shen brings to the table with the Subjugate as well as the Gragas in the jungle. So kind of the 2 top tier junglers shining through here, and that's what happens when it's very mid lane focused bans.
Yeah, exactly right. And all of a sudden, you know, mid lane going to be counter picked here for the KMV lineup, unless, you know, they've got a sick Gragas mid lane prepared. But that's interesting because normally you run Trundle top against only solo tanks at the moment because he doesn't really have, you know, the smoothest item build paths anymore.
Sure.
In saying that, I'm sure Element has been very practiced in a lane matchup. In the 1v1, should do completely fine. Swiffer historically was a huge Corki player. We've seen a little bit of Corki over in the LPL where he goes Gunblade. It's fantastic. I like it a lot. As you can see, Coach Jish on the left of your screen. Wow, that would be interesting if he just goes back to Victor.
Look, it seems to be the safe pick here, and it looked like, judging by the reactions, that the Cassiopeia band caught them off guard, maybe just a touch. But so going at the very safe pick, it is going to be the Victor, kind of slots into any composition, lane control, damage, you name it, he's got it. But also the Bard pick up for the support. So you mentioned they love to run that double range into stuff like the Braum.
Yeah, and you know, plays anything with the Chroma, does Mr. Ejim. You know, red pants running around Summoner's Rift on the Bard, so we'll see whether he's able to get it going. It is an okay lane so far because, you know, Jim Bard, whilst they put out damage, their day can be ruined by that Unbreakable. It stops the Bard Q coming through and also nullifies Meep Slap, quite available. I know you're a big Bard player.
I do love my Bard.
It's not one of my favorite lanes actually to play into as Bard against the
No, it straight up
Braum.
sucks.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes down. Still should have some range harass there, still not much kill pressure. And it's a Vel'Koz!
Oh, I don't know what to say to that one. I was just expecting something standard, but they're going to go with the Vel'Koz here. So both these champions, all about that evolution.
All right, so
oh my lord.
Vel'Koz is really interesting. Kobe somewhere, right? Kobe is celebrating because he was expecting this a lot at MSI.
Okay.
And it never came out, you know. Long range, fantastic burst damage, also huge ultimate. Like, cannot, I guess, stress how much damage that ultimate really does do. But positioning, incredibly important. You know, going to have to make sure that he's got terrain between himself and the Shen as he runs at him. As we actually have a look at the two-star players, we think it's going to be Raze heading up against Plugo.
So Raze, his second debut on the world stage here, and already going to be having the focus on him this game. He is going to be on that Jhin, so one of the premier AD carries at the moment. Of course, Plugo, how can you not put this guy here when he's playing that Vel'Koz? And Vel'Koz did see a few quality of life changes with that mid-season mage update. Does have, if he can discover, I think it's called, the enemy champion, the ultimate just does straight true damage.
Yeah. So it's an interesting change. His ultimate does a lot of damage, as I said. But in saying that, once again, he's going to have to, you know, avoid Ejim because he's going to be quite in the same way that Jhin does it. As soon as he goes into ultimate, Ejim's just going to hurl a Bard ulti at him. So there are ways to definitely nullify that pick. But I like the confidence.
Look, we're jumping into game number 2 of day number 2 of the International Wildcard Qualifiers, and we have a Vel'Koz picked for Plugo on KMV. Interesting, exciting, and potentially awesome.
Yeah, I really am looking forward to this because, as I said, this is now a must-win game for KMV. They got two of the harder opponents. So, you know, if you assume that first is CIS right now, second is Dark Passage, third is INTZ, there's no reason that they can't jump into that fourth place spot if they start beating teams like Rampage, like the Chiefs. So really keen to see them get it ramped up here because I want to see the LAS region starting to regain some of that pride.
Good denial of vision early on by the Chiefs, but again, the Vel'Koz, it's got to be taking them by the surprise here. I wonder how many times Swiffer has played the Victor into Vel'Koz match. And Vel'Koz, he used to have the indicator on the range of his Q. Doesn't have that anymore. So it's essentially your judgment of the range of that ability. And if you haven't played against it, it could potentially just completely catch you off guard.
Yeah, it certainly can. It's also definitely not Vel'Koz running around in the mid lane, as we actually get the Keystone Masteries this time. Thunderlord's coming out of Bard, so potential huge meep slaps. As well as Deathfire Touch. We saw a little bit of Thunderlord Shin running around. Deathfire Touch seems to have regained for the late game potency.
And so we'll be seeing standard starts here as well. Thunderlord's being taken on Plugo, so he wants to get the maximum amount of damage possible from that Vel'Koz burst potential. Looks like the bot lane, though, of KMV not going to be starting one of their camps here, just maybe going for a little bit of early damage in the bush, but not going to happen as...
They actually pulled the lane, so unless a creep, like a couple of creeps die, they're in a little bit of trouble here. All in level 1, not going to be successful. And now they're just down in experience in a pretty big way.
No, Raze just straight knew that was coming. Sidesteps it without even a second's notice. Should be hitting that level 2 quite soon.
They actually gave it over to Ejim. So Ejim hit the level 2.
Well, he does get the XP bonus from picking up the meep, so naturally he does hit level 2 quite early. So may just be that, coupled with the experience.
Also, if they think they're going to get early harass, he can actually just take the healing shrines and start stacking them up behind and get a good early push going on. Jin's push at level 2 doesn't honestly get all that much better, so it makes sense if you want to stay healthy. you see once again the population difference between Oceania and the rest of the regions. Although this time, I think that, you know, people should rally behind KMV, because if they are going to pick up the win, as we said, it is going to be this one.
Look, and they're already down 2-0, so you've got to be feeling bad for them. But look at Ejim going for the very aggressive meep slap. He does get the Thunderbolts Ignite as well. One more Q Ignite might do it, but he may have bitten off more than he can chew. Spook's already on his way to save him. Bear just going to get the stun down, but here comes the Fox over the wall. The Ignite
Another
comes
early
down.
fight.
He might be in trouble. Has to flash. Swift has made his way over as well. Fox, only level 2 Spooks with the red, is able to keep them at bay. But that's a flash down for Ejim, Ignite down for Bear.
Yeah, it certainly is. And once again, another early fight out of the Chiefs. And it doesn't 100% go their way, but they keep Bear level 1. Fox maybe looking to dash in there. You could see that he kind of wanted it. And a huge creep wave building here for the Chiefs. They had the right idea one more time, but once again, just pretty bad execution, to be honest.
Unfortunately, doesn't cost them too much, but this might as Ejim goes over the wall, but here comes Raze. He's met with the force of 1,000 bars. Bear, he can get the stun off. Not going to happen, though, Ejim.
Julio Cito and Bear lived on nothing. Oof. And all of a sudden, they need to be so careful because a dive can come out here from the Chiefs. Teleports are available. Spooks has been spotted, but he has also cut the wave. Doesn't look like they want it.
A very aggressive magical journey coming out from this Chiefs roster here. Spooks is able to tunnel himself to safety, but great stuff from both these lineups already. Of course, KMV avoiding total disaster and Chiefs being very proactive already.
Yeah, especially in that bottom lane. And we said, you know, they have to be proactive. They need to really look to punish early because that's when they play their best League of Legends. You don't change your style when you go international. If anything, you should, you know, really double down on it and embrace it. Swiffer has done a great job of shoving Plugo out of mid lane. 29 to 14 CS, but the same can be said about top lane as Element's doing a great job of keeping Swiper down.
It's going to be difficult for Plugo to kind of get in on here. Doesn't really have the same wave clear potential that Swiffer has until he's got a few points in that W. Then he can start taking them out, but a lot of the early damage from Vel'Koz does come from that 3 proc passive, so unless he's able to get that, the trades are going to be very one-sided.
Yeah, certainly are, and you can see that it's about 14 CSs. You know, he'll be able to pick up this wave at least, shove it in nice and hard, and it is going to be straight. Actually, no, it's not an upgrade. It's ring. That's 1,000 gold. It's been changed. I hate Victor changes, so it's 1250 now.
Yeah.
So, of course, not going to be able to pick that one up. Julio Cito doing a good job of continuing to farm up. Looking at the blue buff.
Does spot him out. Spooks was quite low, so can't contest that one, but not going to get anything.
Raze in
trouble. Get stunned up here. He might have to burn that heal. Forced to use it very, very low. Ejim trying to body block here, but this KMV bot lane, they can turn it on and they go full aggression.
Yeah, they certainly do, and now they want to stick around in the bottom lane, but I don't know if that's a good call because we've already seen the aggression that can come out of the Braum Lucian. Looks like that's what's going to happen.
Does have a few of the healing shrines here for Raze to pick up, but with no heal and the Fox still sitting on double Summoner's Bear, he's got that Ignite back up. The kill pressure is there, but they are just going to back off out of this one. They don't have vision on
Swiper
Spooks.
hit level 6 as well. That's the big thing. So even if they can pillar him out of the ult, the shield would probably be enough to save him at this stage. So I actually like the call out of KMV, punish them on the CS, although it's actually started to reverse quite heavily the other way. And, you know, try and stay aggressive.
And really got to respect that stand United, especially this early on in the game. And as you mentioned, probably be beneficial for Swiper to get cancelled out of that one because he doesn't end up missing the CS and Raze survives.
Yeah, exactly right. So we'll see whether this bottom lane continues to go now in the Chiefs' favour, although Raze still doesn't have summoner spells, or whether, you know, Julio Cito can make a visit down there.
Junglers just going to spot each other out.
Like ships in the night, run into each other.
Takes away the Scuttle Crab for Julio, though, so he's going to be feeling good about that one. And Chiefs are off to an early lead in terms of gold. A great stun. Can they follow it up with some damage? No, someone spelled burnt for the Fox, though, so should have just been able to walk his way out of that one. I'm sure the Braum shield was enough to keep Chiefs at bay.
Yeah, just a little bit of a stand behind Braum. Cheekily coming in there. Plugo is level 6, so Swiffer now has to really respect the burst damage that can come out. And as you said, that wave clear starting to ramp up. Love me some Vel'Koz as well.
Stun comes through, hits the wall. There's the snare from Deadly Flourish. Bear doesn't even have to use the shield here, but takes a lot of damage for his troubles. Raze back up to full health, but as you mentioned, no summoner spells available. Is going to channel the recall now. Going in for a little steal, not going to find it.
Actually really cheeky there from Plugo. That's a great move moving over. If the W had have had slightly more range, would have actually been able to pick that one up, but was not to be. As you can see, wave clear now for days coming out of Wildcard. So he's catching back up in the CS. And that's a bad news story if there ever was one for the Chiefs. Because as I said, if he gets a full combo down across the team, they're just going to pop. Yeah,
they really have to save the Tempered Fate for any time that Plugo throws down that Disintegration Ray. But even still, by then, it's already dished out a couple hundred damage, and that could be the difference between life or death. Ejim using a Chime to hit that level 6, going in and going to try and return the favor on that attempted blue steal here. Yeah, it certainly is. They're actually going to pull this one out. Let's see if Ejim sticks around and gets some damage down on it. They do like to invade together, the Chiefs Esports Club. You can see they're actually probably going to be able to pick this one up, although Julio Stito running over is going to be a little bit too late. The Wolf Spirit
gives it over to the Bard as well. Very cool stuff, and he's playing Rek'Sai. Doesn't really need that. The cooldown reduction not too important, so now Ejim, he's going to be able to get a complete farm of healing shrines up and throw out Qs whenever he sees fit. Element, take an unfortunate trade, but there is never an unfortunate trade when you have Subjugate up on Trundle. Yeah, exactly right. He's just going to continue to use it. Oh, big engage. This is looking bad. Ejim forced a flash. A great ultimate. Hits 2 members. That's going to mean the ulti channels from Swiper, but they burst him straight through. Now Raze might be in trouble. A great explosive cast back into the fight. Here comes Spooks. Gets a double knockup. It might not be enough as Julio Cinto picks up that one. Now Spooks in trouble. He's been stunned up. He's walking on the slow. Is able to get to safety with the flash, but a disaster in the bot lane. Yeah, it's a disaster everywhere, in fact, because all of a sudden Swiffer had to burn Ghost, and Swiper is without flash because he got all in as soon as he's ultied. So really great play out of the KMV lineup, taking it now to the Chiefs. Look, great initiative here. Julio, he was able to just waltz on down through the river, and just like that, there's the culling straight onto Ejim, and no amount of blue buffs, even an on-point Tempered Fate can save you at that stage. Yeah, exactly right. They just didn't have the summoner spells to escape, and one more time, the Fox hasn't even used his. Kill goes over to the Braum. Kill goes also over to Julio Cito. So really nicely played there out of KMV. And one more time, you just have to question, like, what's the Chiefs' early game currently looking like? Because right now, it doesn't look like they have many answers. Yeah, they're really just trying to keep this CS advantage in on the mid lane. But Plugo, he's having no trouble. He fell behind, but he's staying consistent now. He's not getting further behind. He's gone for the little bit of that magic resistance. So no real kill threat out of Swiffer just yet. So Chiefs teleport going into the top lane, actually. So Element not wanting to match the teleport advantage. In fact, looks like he might want to kill Swiper. He's going to back off out of that one. Looks like we just see a little bit of jungle shenanigans here out of Spooks and Julio. Dragon is only an Ocean Drake, so not one of the combat-focused ones, so won't be too intensive here. Snare comes through on Bear, but it is just going to be Ejim wailing down on him. Magical Journey gets him to safety. He's on top of a ward, though. And one more time, Element's just really dueling with Swiper up here in the top lane. You can see that it's even in CS, but that summoner spell advantage is going to be there. Swift has finally picked up his first augmentation, but we've already said, you know, this mid lane not getting any easier for him. Plugo just staying very relevant in the CS. Element does have the Tiamat now, so should have no trouble matching the Barmy Cinder wave clear that Swiper has. Spooks hasn't really made an attempt to go for any ganks yet. Tried to save his bot lane, ended up having to burn a flash of his own, but like you said, he's a tracker, and right now, keeping eye on Julio. Is it enough? Plugo just backs on out of that one. Yeah, Julio doesn't actually have his smite, so wants to walk it into the brush. Nicely done there. Huge double stun. Do you see that Bear with the freeze frame? Looking excellent here, but Raze, can he get it? Ejim actually picks up that one now. Fox, he might be in trouble. One more attack should do the burn. Coming from the Deathfire's touch. Raze with no flash available. Ooh, forces a flash out of the Fox. Really nicely done out of the Chiefs bottom lane. Unfortunately, it is going to be Ejim picking it up. Now Julio Cito, he's found on a ward. Oh, great body slam to get himself to safety. Swiffer doesn't have the Chaos Storm available, so it was going to be just a little bit of harass here. But finally, Chiefs on the board. Gold lead in their favor. Yeah, it certainly is, and it looks like they want to turn towards a Dragon, although I think that that is a pretty risky call right now. Julio Cito is still in the area, as well as Braum collapsing. They might be able to pick it up, but it's about how much priority they lose on mid lane as well as AD carry now.
But that's just one of the benefits of having Bard. He has abilities that no one else in the game can match. Magical Journey gets them all to safety. I was questioning whether it would be off cooldown as he did use it to get out of that bot lane, but Ejim knows that champion
look at this.
very,
Mid lane
very well.
shove coming in really hard. Bottom lane shove coming in hard. So you pick up a dragon, but what do you lose in response? Looks like the response is at least going to be there for mid lane, but a huge creep wave bottom lane crashing in. And in fact, they're going for a red buff invade, blue buff invade.
Yeah, they really want to take this away from Swiffer. He's already low on mana, but look who's there. It's Ejim fighting for the blue buff. Might try to steal that one away. Gets the stun onto Julio.
Might just kill him.
Secure it. Yeah, he's doing a lot of damage. Has the ignite. Tempered Fate not available just yet. Force the explosive cast, though.
Really surprised that a Shen ulti and a Magical Journey wasn't taken there, because that was definitely a kill available for Ejim. But in the end, just going to run back into his forest. You see Julio Cito giving his head a little bit of a scratch. I do that every now and again when I'm playing Bard. How did he do that much damage?
That's it, right? Looks like Spooks is going to get spotted out by the pink. Not going to check the brush, though. Just going to be taking away the Grump. Looks like he may have found it now. Julio back up in the top. But blue buff still map to map coming through. They do know it's being taken, but no one going to be reacting to that one. They want to get down and defend this tower. It's down below half health now. Raised with that fourth shot now doing extra damage to the towers. Starting to chunk it.
Yeah, so doing a better job here are the Chiefs. Spooks is still on the bottom side of the map, and they are going to force them off.
Tempered Fate comes on in through the submarine, comes on. Bear gets stunned up. They might got their attention sent onto the Fox. He's got no escape from this one. There's a curtain call onto Bear. A few more attacks should do it. Raze, he's found his mark, but his name is Julio. The shot comes through, gets blocked out by the Fat Man, so Bear gets to live another day, but it's a huge push.
They're going to keep going. He misses the taunt. That's sloppy from Sliper, so Julio Cito will live.
Ooh. Is going to get himself to safety for now, but look at the pressure that the Chiefs are exerting right now. 2 turrets for the price of 1. Can they get it, though? They might have to get themselves out of here.
Dead.
And, the snipe from the tower picks up that one. Julio gets the kill. They lose the top tower in trade. So unfortunately, not being able to get out that second turret.
So twice in as many minutes, the Chiefs with sloppy play. Not going to be able to punish. Plugo in the mid lane in a little bit of trouble. Doesn't have his flash available, and Swiffer has his full combo. However, you know, they should have had a tier 2 there.
Yeah.
That should have been a 2-for-1 trade. Ejim should not have died. They've accelerated the Gragas one more time, and they can't afford to keep making these mistakes.
Well, they get themselves the first tower gold in that bot lane, so they are ahead by a few hundred here and there. They do have that dragon as well.
As well as a huge CS lead in the mid lane. I mean, that's where the majority of it is sitting right now. It is matched in top lane, but you have to say, well, that's cheeky out of Bear. That's a tilter. You have to say that that's being matched quite nicely by Element in the top lane with this Trundle, who now, with a couple of items, is really going to start getting rolling.
Looks like we will be seeing the duo down up in the mid lane now. Julio making his way through, finds out a ward in a very peculiar spot, but it was a good ward from Chiefs while it lasted. Ejim does spot out that pink ward, but doesn't want to stick around to take it out.
I also think that this is a really risky rotation out of the Chiefs. I mean, they've kept their Joy Lane bot.
Okay.
Which, you know, without a turret behind a Jhin really is hard to stay in. I think they should send Shen towards that side of the map. Dragon was taken, of course. Swap them top lane, see if you can punish what is an armorless Element for now.
That's a great point.
However, looks like they're pretty persistent in sticking this one out.
Swiper's finished his Sunfire Cape now, so we'll have a lot more control of the wave should he choose to. But of course, Element, it's a lot of armor he can sap should he need to. Spooks, he's going to find Julio, does get the double knock up onto Bear. Bear trying to block a lot of that damage. Gravity Field goes down, cuts off the rest of the team. Tempered Fate, not finding anyone, but there's the disintegration rate. A great stun from Ejim, disrupts all the damage. Spooks gets the kill onto Bear. A very aggressive Magical Journey, second guessing it is even Ejim.
I don't even know if it was a stun. I think that Swiffer's ultimate still cancels channels.
No, it was a Bard stun.
Was it Bard stun?
Yeah. If we see a replay, you might be right, but I'm pretty sure I saw the lingering...
Oh, no, he definitely got stunned, but I think the initial cancel came out because of the Swiffer ultimate. And, you know, it used to be a silence, and a lot of the silences in the game used to have now been just changed to stop channels. Cassid and Q, for example. But it looks like they're sticking around again for another turret. Don't want to overstay one more time.
Unfortunately, missed out on a potential kill there with the curtain call, but Ejim, his Qs have been on point, constantly getting those stuns up against the wall, and now Chiefs in the driver's seat for now. They've got themselves about 1,000 and some gold lead here, trying to get this tower, but the defense coming out of KMV is there, but that leaves Swiper a little bit of alone time with this tower. Tower's still relatively high health and Element has level 2 boots, so he shouldn't be too slow at getting around the map.
But the bottom lane turret fell down. So the big news story here is that's where that gold lead came from, was the fact that, you know, even though the Chiefs weren't able to get the mid lane turret, did miss out on a kill as well. Bottom lane turret did fall. So let's have another look at it. Huge amount of burst damage coming out. And ult comes out. It was a stun. So stun straight away.
And then the Chaos Storm
Chaos Storm came on top. So you were right. Good spot there. I saw that he got stunned.
A lot of Bard.
Yeah.
Play a lot of Bard.
Bard's great.
But no, and Swiffer, he had that perfectly placed gravity field that meant that no one could help out Bear. He was just in a really bad position with no way of getting himself out of it.
And they started that fight, KMV. I mean, they were fighting over vision. So in the end, that is going to come back and bite them quite hard. I get my morning coffee delivery from Mr. Sifa, so I'm happy.
And the real MVP here. Looks like Dragon spawning in about 10 seconds, though. So let's see if Chiefs, now with a little bit of confidence and a little bit of an advantage, can choose to fight over this one and take some more. Will be the Infernal Drake as well, so high priority from both teams.
Yeah, actually huge priority for the Chiefs in particular. The reason I say that is that a lot of what Lucian builds is flat penetration now into some attack speed and then some armor pen. You know, same thing going to be coming up for Plugo, I assume. Whereas the Chiefs have two huge AP and AD dealers, although mid lane turret now under fire.
Oh, so is the rest of the Chiefs. Spooks, look at the damage. Forced to flash, even though the magical journey was there. Swiper, he's over the wall. Bear is able to jump to a friendly Swiper. Swiffer gets the damage out. One more proc, not going to matter. The heal comes through now. Element in the front line. Does still have the subjugate available. The snare comes through. There's the taunt. There's the curtain call looking for the damage. Element, he might have enough to keep himself safe, but Bear now in the front line. Huge damage. Can he burn the Deathfire's touch? Not going to matter as Swiffer picks it up with the Death Ray.
Yeah, so Swiffer able to dive in and grab that kill. I'm just going to stop talking about Dragons because action everywhere right now. Looks like they might look to rotate into it. The initial point was Jin and Victor, more AD AP than what Lucian Valkor's going to have. But let's just forget about it. Let's keep going with this one. KMV still staying aggressive in this mid lane. Want to force him off the Dragon.
Yeah, Swiffer does have a blue buff now, picking that one up, so he's got a lot of mana to help control this wave. Raze popping the Ghost Blade, just trying to get the raw damage on his W to maybe pick someone up. Not going to find it.
Yeah, I was looking for Julio Stito there, actually. Did not find him at all. So that's the jungler sent back. Chiefs going to reset. I like the call because ultimately right now they should be stronger. Their mid lane is a monster, Rogi. That means that they can just farm out the side waves and look to fight over the Dragon. Take another one of those winning team fights. They can match. They actually have teleport advantage over Element, in fact. So one more time, Swiper just needs to be able to repel this Trundle, who is getting massive at the same time. That is definitely KMV's win condition right now. Continue to ride Element, who is a very big boy at the moment.
Well, Plugo finally finishes his first item. It is going to be the Morellonomicon here, so it does have a little bit more damage than the last times we've seen him, and the damage he was outputting was insane, but Chiefs, they have a very good strategy when it comes to taking the Dragon all in at the magical journey to safety, even under rewards. So they've got themselves the Ocean, they've got themselves the Infernal, and they've got themselves a great position on the map right now.
Yeah, water, fire, unfortunately, they do mix together in this game. It's confusing. Just trust us on that. So a lot of health regen, a lot of raw damage going to be added to the Jin. And you can see Raze in a pretty good position at this stage of the game. Even though we had a rough early game, I mean, credit to the Fox and Bear.
Yeah.
They turned it on in what is a difficult lane to pull off. I mean, we see it like, and this is a compliment if there ever is one, we see it a lot when Mata Uzi play things like Lucian Braum, that if you don't get your all-ins right, you actually get shoved out of lane quite hard, but they generally do. And the Fox and Bear really did get their all-ins right at the start of the game. I mean, they were able to pick up that huge double kill in the bottom lane. And you feel that if one of those had gone over to the Fox, it would have been even better for them.
Magical journey them to safety now as Bear once again frontlining. He's kind of been caught on the wrong side of the fights, but there's no other place for Braum to be at that stage. It's just he's just not tanky enough, and Plugo didn't have the damage to back it up, putting up the wall to try and help defend his minions so the tower can go down, but great death ray coming out of Swiffer keeps him safe for now.
It's not even that, it's just where he places a gravity field. So all of a sudden you can't stand there and block the minions. You have to get away because a couple of times Bear's actually been stunned up. And the last thing you want is to be stunned there. All of a sudden they one-shot the minion waves around you, you're taking aggro. So Bear doing the right thing, but Swiffer just winning out the mind game at the moment. As we said, he's our big international player from Oceania. And you can see that putting on what is pretty much a 50 CS hole at the moment. Looks like he's returning a little bit to form.
Tempered Fate not going to land. The stun does though onto the minion, followed up with the
Still
Deadly
no
Flourish.
armor.
There's the Subjugate onto Ejim. Here comes a curtain call. He gets himself to safety, but Bear, actually, the bearer of bad news, takes the stun, but now Ejim might be in trouble. He can't go back through a magical journey. It's a one-way trip, mate. Can't get the channel off in time for Swiper to get in. Spooks is there, but Bear gets the safety and Element.
Oh, no, the snipe.
The Prey Seeker seeks his prey. But after that Element, he gets out alive.
Yeah, he certainly does. And all of a sudden in the mid lane, they're diving Swiffer.
Oh, he's doing a great job of holding it off. Looks like they just want the tower more than anything. But there's the explosive cast. Back in the fight. Disintegration Ray turns him to dust.
Yeah, and Julio Cito just lived. So all over the map, the Chiefs are just getting pipped at the post. Because Swiper, too late on the ultimate. Ejim gets blown up. 2 members live. Swiffer stays around. Julio Cito picks him up. All of a sudden, he only lives on a slither of health. They get the turret at the same time. Top lane turret repelled. Back within 1,000 gold right now for KMV. Although Julio Cito is in a little bit of trouble.
Look, he's low. Forces a flash, but guess who's going to meet him there? It's either
Spooks
or it's either Swiper. He's donezo.
Yeah, that's why I don't think you flash Julio Cito. But
you just die.
You know, you just die there. He actually, once again, a 1-for-1 trade, but they got the turret. That's still a net bonus.
Yeah.
If you keep the summoner spell, you're relatively happy with that. Now all of a sudden they have mid lane priority, try and knock this one down. But still got to really take your hat off to KMV because twice now against good teams, you know, INTZ as well as the Chiefs, having a very good early stage of the game.
Yeah, and it all comes down to just Plugo. He's falling further and further behind, but he's on a champion that just has so much raw damage.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
He's kind of feigning his way through this. He's like, yeah, I've got one item, but I'm still outputting damage. I'm still strong, guys. You got to respect me. And he's doing a great job of it recently as well.
Yeah, well, you saw it. I mean, he pretty much 100-0 Swiffer.
Yeah.
Like, with the help of Gragas, it did not matter the fact that he didn't have items. So, definitely as the game progresses and magic resistance is picked up by other members. I mean, if Rage goes towards a Hex Shrinker now, if ultimately something like an Abyssal Scepter comes out of Swiffer, and of course, you're going to have all that magic resistance everywhere else on the Chiefs map, it'll start to matter more. But for right now, the fact that he's a little bit behind, the base damage, he's like Brand in this regard. Like, the base damage in his kit is ludicrous.
Oh, Spooks might be in trouble. Julio just body slamming him back into it. Gets him to the other side, though. There's a Tempered Fate. Not going to land on anyone, but now Chiefs are answering. Look at the damage coming down. Swiffer forced to respect that one. Spooks as well. Gets tagged by the Bromq. Here comes the Shen ultimate just in time. Bear gets the taunt. He's going to go down eventually. Spooks picks that one up, and Chiefs answer, but it's only the support again.
Yeah, but see where they go from here, because all of a sudden it is going to be the Trundle pushing in on that bottom lane turret.
Yeah.
So they're going to be able to pick up an objective. It is only a 1-for-0 with a turret potentially going in favor of KMV. So one more time, even though they lose out on the trade, they pick up the overall gold advantage, and Element is still getting massive.
Yeah, Chiefs, they really need to get this tower, and they need to get it fast, but Julio and Fox are going to try and defend it. That's a big minion wave, though. Do Chiefs want to commit to this one? Spooks is there. Ray's trying to look for the snare. Not going to find it. It's enough, these two members, to hold off the Horde.
Yeah, creep wave was massive, but still good enough wave clear. And you can see there's not really much Swiper can do anymore against Element. That's trading without Subjugate on, so Element's got a whole lot more of where that comes from.
Look, I see them hitting each other, Spawn, but health bars aren't moving.
Yeah,
Finally,
and all of a sudden, Swiffer has headed down. So Element does the right thing, backs away there. That's a good heads-up call.
He has to respect that now that Swiffer has that Rylai's. The constant slow coming in might be enough for Swiper to just lock him down with the taunt after that. And
and you can see Swiffer's kind of had enough of the games. He's just going towards Death Cap as his third item. Nothing too fancy coming out here. I disagree with the item in the most passionate way. Should be probably going towards a Void Staff or an Abyssal, just because there is some magic resistance coming up, and we've already seen how much damage he takes. But in saying that, if he gets to a 4-item spike on this rate, he's going to be pumping it out.
Well, I feel like that's one of the advantages that Plugo has. You mentioned eventually as the game scales, they're going to have to buy magic resistance, but if he can get the passive proc before the ulti, that's just straight true damage. He doesn't even have to worry about it.
Yeah, 100% agree with that one. Is certainly a very strong ultimate. Jhin in the top lane still, so it's going to be KMV starting up this dragon. Chiefs look like they want to trade a turret for it, although they're still respecting because Element and Plugo haven't headed there just yet.
Swiper's split from the team, but does have the ultimate and teleport available. Looks like they just want to, like you said, trade for this one. It is only the Cloud Drake, so not the highest on the priority list when it comes to Dragon. They will rather the gold for it. Raze picks it up quite easy and starts to push on to the next one.
And you can see that Raze is just going to continue to shove incredibly hard. Inside track obtained for the Chiefs if they want to go here, KMV, they're going to have to rotate through the jungle, and that is so dangerous against a Bard Rek'Sai. Ray's still putting in massive work into this turret. There's no response really in sight.
Oh, great stun coming out of Ejim. Spooks forced to tunnel his way to safety. Bear just frontlining. Ray should get this tower for free, and he does. A lot of help from that fourth passive proc as well as the red buff, and Julio scratching his head after that one, thinking, where did it all go wrong?
Yeah, exactly right. So really good priority play out of the Chiefs. You know, they grabbed themselves a 3,000 gold lead off the back end of it. Once again, there's still no response to this Trundle, who's just getting bigger and bigger as the game goes on. But at the end of the day, if the Chiefs can just dance around the map, not really ever fight 5v5, use Swift as wave clear as well as some really heads-up priority in the side lanes, they should just be able to continue to push in advantages.
Swift has got himself the Guardian Angel now, so he's going to be even more of a nuisance to deal with, especially when coming in from the side of the fight. Plugo has picked up that Hourglass, as well as still sitting on a little bit of a magic resistance, so not turning that into an Abyssal Scepter anytime soon.
I really hope that Element's going for a GA and not going for a Dead Man's Plate. The only reason I say that is you really need late game Aranduin's Omen against Raze, because it just nullifies a lot of the damage that he brings to the table. It's going to be much more efficient against Jhin than what a Dead Man's Plate is going to be. I understand the theory of being able to run him down at top speed, but ultimately it just doesn't work that way. He runs quicker than you still.
Look, Spooks and Ejim doing a great job saying attached at the hips here, defending all of their vision around this Baron. Good scan coming out, and once again, the range of Bard just proving to be such a valuable asset when de-warding.
Yeah, 100%. And look, they're still not playing perfect League of Legends here, the Chief. But, you know, this is much tidier than what yesterday was for the lineup. They have great vision control over this side of the map. Swipe has disappeared into Fog of War one more time. And they're looking for the play.
Well, once again, Bear's being caught out here. The stun comes through for Spooks. Can they get it off to the side? That Magical Journey not going to do too much. Spooks does get the knock up, but Julio knocks him back the wrong way. Bear, he's still alive. Element in the backline with the teleport. Ejim, he can't get through to get the stuns down. Raze, he's still got that a Blade of Dark Thug going. Trying to get the damage out. Julio does eventually get taken down. Great flash taunt coming out. Elements. He's able to keep himself alive. Fox now in the firing line is going to have to be body blocked here. Plugo already used the ultimate and to not much effect. Chiefs find one.
Yeah, he actually opened up on Ejim there, Plugo. And you know, the rest of the team just was unaffected by it. All of a sudden, looking for this turret here. Element in a little bit of trouble.
They're trying their best to get it. Ejim's quite low. Swiffer does get punched back in, but the Chaos Storm forces a flash out of Plugo, and that's a Chiefs tower.
Yeah, 100% is Chiefs all of a sudden playing with much more priority around the map. Pretty sloppy target selection out of KMV. I think they had that one. Yeah. Plugo was in the Raptor pit, completely uncontested, but he opened up on the Bard. I think if he opens up on the main team, everyone just burns down, but he had to swing it the whole pretty much 180 to get it done. The Fox also was nowhere to be seen at the start of that fight, was pretty much zoned away from everyone. So, you know, the Chiefs, they get one team fight in their favor. It's now a 5,000 gold lead. All the outers knocked down. How do they play around this Baron buff? How do they get the rest of the game going? Because KMV, they're still scaling up.
That's exactly right. They're getting advantages here and there. And you mentioned that the Trundle is such a big force to be reckoned with, but it didn't really feel like that, and he went for that Dead Man's Plate rather than the Randuins or the Guardian Angel. So, like you said, not having that late-game threat that he may have with better item selection, especially when Jhin, the crits are going to be huge. You need some way to negate that.
Yeah, and Atlas and I have this conversation all the time, you know. Running quicker does not equal making someone run slower. Having a Randuin, so everyone else can catch Jhin, is so much more important than Element being able to stick to him. Because Jhin at this stage of the game, especially as soon as he gets his Zeal item, actually trucks it out of fights. Like, if he gets that crit, he takes off.
Yeah,
like, he's a pretty quick limper for some reason. So, really do think that that might have been an oversight, as now the Chiefs are actually starting up the Baron. Ejim going to play goalie for a little bit.
Great CC onto Julio.
6,000 health.
It's not too low. They do have the Shen teleport and the ultimate available. They might not have to back on out of this one.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, Element's already committed down here. He doesn't have the teleport available. They know that. Swiper's not the quickest pusher in the game, but he's going to get it done eventually, and they have wave clear over here. So now there's two calls out of Element. We either send back Element, as I was saying, which they do, and all of a sudden Chiefs have the ad information now, or we just, you know, continue to wave clear and push up the lanes. They can just go back to Baron right now.
Yeah, teleport is still a ways away from being completed by Element. This could be the opportunity that Chiefs are looking for to take this Baron. 8,000 health left.
Yeah, so now he has to chase Swiper, because if he doesn't chase Swiper, he can just get a free TP onto someone like Ejim. Ejim can go over the wall. Steady's just going to Spooks. They're going to commit to the Baron buff.
Spooks makes his way on in. That means Element isn't going to be a part of this fight. Here comes Julio over the
wall.
Oh
my God.
The Disintegration Ray gets the steal onto the Baron, but it might not matter. The Magical Journey gets Ejim into the fight as well as the tunnel. That's a double kill for Spooks. So Plugo, great heads-up play, but they end up losing 2 for it. Not just yet. Race flashes on in, does get the recall denial. Now Ejim opens up a Magical Journey that should give Spooks the chance to get in on the fight. Ghost being popped here, and I don't know if he's long for this world, Spawn.
Yeah, he looks like he's just going to be chased down. So it will be 3 Baron buffs denied, and they give it on over to Raze. They've killed a 4th member. In the end, what could have been an absolute disaster off a heads-up play out of Plugo now looks like it's going to be in Chief's favor. But the important thing, if you were going to give a Baron buff to one member, it would be Element, because he is the split-pushing threat, and he's the one that still has it.
It's falling apart at the seams, it seems, for Kaos Latin Gaming. They're not able to find much off that Baron, but you mentioned it's still an Element, so they still have a little bit of pressure. You've got to look at the saving graces here. It is going to allow Chiefs to take away pretty much the rest of the map. They get themselves a second Ocean Drake, so a lot of mana, a lot of health regen coming through. Swiffer tops up on his blue buffs, and as the dust settles, still about a 5,000 to 6,000 gold lead for the Chiefs.
Yeah, but still, now Element, he's going for a Blade of the Ruined King. This is a really aggressive build. Let's take another look at that. So, barrel goes off. It landed on 30 health. Spook still has his smite available. I mean, there was definitely a window for the jungler to pick it up there. I mean, it's of course always really rough to say, landed on 30 health. You should have been able to pick that one up. But at the end of the day, that's kind of his job. So, still a missed smite. 5-0-5. The jungler from Oceania is having a very good performance, but that was a dropped catch, if you will.
Speaking of a dropped catch, Swiffer, he might be in trouble. Does avoid it with the extra movement speed from Ghost. There's a Tempered Fate not going to land. Stand United as well. Great double stun. Interrupts the cull, and that's a massive double kill coming out from the Chiefs. They're looking unstoppable in this fight. Swiffer does fall in the end, but here comes Raze. Jin opens up with the curtain call. Huge amount of damage, just completely destroys the Brom. Now, once again, Element surrounded by the graves of his teammates, forced to watch as the Chiefs run it down mid.
But he still has the Baron buff, and it's a huge creep wave on him. He's going to get the turret. Actually, looks like he's going to recall because he wants to try and be able to deny it. I think that's a wrong call. I think you just tank up the Shen at that stage.
There's no way he's stopping this.
There's no way he stops the inhibitor falling down. Maybe they would have pushed through for the game, and that's what he's worried about. But I think he can at least get the trade there, Element. Instead, goes back to base, makes the safe call. Definitely respect it. He's a big trundle still. I mean, he's about 800 gold off a Bork.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to kill some people if his team ever lines up, but Swiffer was huge in that fight. I mean, he just deleted 2 members.
Look, it all went perfectly, as we're just going to see here.
Yeah, so they overcommit onto him. He puts on the blue suede shoes, dances around a little bit, avoids everything. And then it's really this stun right here. Lines them up, connects, 2 members, flash comes through, and look at the damage in the end.
Picturesque.
Swiffer, I mean, that's the easy part, right? If all the CC comes out, you're the mage, you just one-shot them. I guess that's a little bit unfair to say Swiffer comes through, but good heads-up start of the play from Egypt. Swiffer being able to dance out of a lot of the damage, and the Chiefs looking very good at this stage.
Look, you got to give props, I guess, to Ejim's Bard. He's been so brave, constantly in the face of death there. A Culling and a Vel'Koz. No laughing matter, but gets the clutch stun off, and that's not the first time he's done it as well. Got it in that other fight when the Disintegration Ray came down, but as we are 36 minutes in the game, the next dragon will be the Elder.
Element needs to be careful. They stop it.
Yeah, he's going to be in trouble.
Probably dead.
Duskblade going to be proccing soon. Avoids the stun, but there's the curtain call. Has to flash himself to safety.
Still a big cooldown use there for Element. Gets chunked out. Doesn't burn the subjugate at least, which is good. Gives them still some team fighting prowess. He's going to have to go toe-to-toe with Swiper, who once again has actually done a really good job of staying relevant in this game. It would have been easy to be pushed out, especially with the build that Element's gone. It's a very 1v1-centric build. Yeah. But Swiper gone pure tank and has been able to match.
Look, he may have fell behind in the lane, but his ultimates have been on point, constantly kind of covering any of the mistakes that Chiefs were making in that early game, which allowed them to get this far in Raze. He's so damn strong. Look at all that armor pen that he's got to his name, as well as the rapid fire cannon. So he's able to get that massive shot off straight away, follow it up with the deadly flourish. His accuracy has been on point all game.
Yeah, it certainly has. On the other side of the map, I mean, you're really looking at Plugo. Level 16, has picked up a Void Staff. If anyone's going to really turn around a team fight right now, it's probably going to be Plugo. Tanks are battling on the bottom lane, trying to stop that engage coming out of Swiper, who does successfully disengage, as you can see in the bottom left. Chiefs still trying to siege. Looks like they're just trying to stay up for 2 minutes. The reason that you do this is it denies vision. You know that they haven't been there for 2 minutes. You know that there's no wards there. It allows you to collapse safely back to Baron whilst keeping pockets of vision and then really collapse on a team. Because the Chiefs know that they can't do Baron. The steal potential is just way too high unless they catch out Plugo, unless they catch out Julio Stito. So I like the call here, you know, disappear into Fog of War as Baron's spawning, and see if you can get a pick. Looks to be the answer.
Both are massive objectives, spawning within 10 seconds of one another. That's going to be the Elder Dragon and Baron Nashor here. So, Chiefs, we know which one they want to go for, but like you mentioned, the Plugo steal potential is such a real threat that now they've given the Julio time to clear out some of these wards.
But he still hasn't come far enough, right?
Yeah.
So, still a minute, but you can see that Egypt dancing around there looking for a pick. Bear can't get within range of the Baron Pit, so there's still these Fog of War pockets that the Chiefs can really start setting up their vision in. And it takes you multiple times as a support. You know, you have to burn the Sightstone, go back to base, use it again to really start advancing these wards. And you can see Bear wants in, but there's just absolutely nothing he can do, because if there is a Jhin, if there is a Victor in any of these Fog of War pockets, he's just dead.
That's exactly right. Now we have Swiper back in the bot lane. Going to be doing a great job of just keeping elements in check, because this Trundle is huge and he's only on 1-0-1, so he hasn't had any time to utilize his advantage in any way that he wants to, and that's all props to Swiper, just constantly corralling him around the map, forcing him to answer the call, then making a few of his own when he teleports in.
Yeah, and you know, at the end of the day right now, if Swiper gets a shield and stopped and denies elements coming into the team fight, I actually think that they win more than if Swiper joins, because unless Plugo gets the biggest ultimate, there's just not enough damage to really take out the rest of the Chiefs lineup. Whereas if the Trundle makes it in, gets a good subjugate down and just runs at Raze, I think a lot of the damage disappears.
I want to see what Chiefs go for here. The Baron has spawned.
Going for the two-man Baron.
Dragon live as well. Ejim just running point here, making sure that Julio can't get in. Swiffer hits him with the Death Ray. Baron down to 6,000 health. Remember, that's only 2 members taking it.
They took the teleport, however. All of a sudden, the Chiefs just back away. They don't have to do anything here.
And Swiper's, Swiper's still just pushing up that bot lane. Spooks,
they're going for the fight.
A little bit of trouble. Raze flashes perfectly. Now Spooks does have the Guardian Angel available. Swiper's gonna come on in, get the taunt. Bear, he's still alive, still body blocking from his team. Spooks back up, and now Fox is in the wrong side of the map, but that's a shutdown coming through from the Trundle. He's doing such great work. A nice double stun.
Ray's got
Swiper.
the Fox.
He got him in the back. He's gonna get another one. Does proc the GA now. Elements. He's running away. Disintegration Ray doing absolutely nothing. Raze is huge. He's running. He's so fast with those crits. Does he have the flash? Tries to go for the far side, but he's just waiting for the side, but he gets it across the wall. But it's not over yet, as Chiefs are barreling down, looking for someone. Swiper flashes in, but the Chaos Storm proc's gonna be enough, and Chiefs with a resounding team fight, looking maybe to take the game here, Spawn.
Yeah, looking to take the game. There's still 20 seconds on the Fox, who got sniped on the back end. You can see Element. That's the one death in the game, but it's going to be enough. The Chiefs actually just maybe looking to push up the top lane turret as well. The respawn's going to be here in time.
Yep.
Maybe they're going to have to go one more time.
One more time around the Baron dance for the Chiefs, maybe, but they're going to have this time 2 inhibitors rather than 1 to help them put on that pressure. And gold at 11,000 advantage for the Chiefs right now. Only 3 towers down, so they still have so many structural advantages they can fall back to should anything go poorly. But no teleport on the Trundle, and Spooks, he can just straight ult back to the tunnel.
Yeah, exactly right. So they started it up again. This time it looks like they're just going to be able to burn it down.
No issues.
Yeah, they're just too far away. You really do have to one more time compliment KMV, taking INTZ to 35 minutes, Chiefs 41 minutes, and they're still fighting, Rogi. I mean, all it takes is one team fight, and you're going to be able to push this one to 6 items. I mean, Element's already there. He's picked up a GA. Julio Cito right behind him, and the Fox is about to join the party as well.
They're going to try and get this Elder. They only have 1 dragon to their name, so the amplification of the statistics won't be too much. Tempered Fate available, and Egypt can stall this for as long as he wants.
This is more of a denial pick away from the Chiefs. 4,000, they do stop it, and they got the Bear as well.
He's going to block out that Sun. 4,000 health left on the Elder Dragon outset at side onto the Chiefs. They should just be able to burst this one down if they choose. Element finally has that Guardian Angel up in the front. Spooks doesn't have his this time around. Should be a free Elder. Gets taken. There's the Disintegration Ray, not finding anyone. Curtain Call comes through looking for the pick potential, but Bear blocking it all up. Element going to be trying to frontline. He does get stunned up, knocked up by Spooks, stunned up by Egypt. Now Raze, look at the damage. It doesn't matter how strong you are in Trundle when your AD carry has that much armor pen. He's just going to get bopped back up to the sky. Comes back to health on full health. He's going to get taken down, though, and Chiefs, with no frontline available to KMV, they might be, their backs against the wall. Their time might be running out here, Spawn.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case. Raze is on the Nexus turrets. Swiper picks up another kill, and it looks like the Chiefs are going to win their first game.
An excellent performance by them. It was looking kind of shaky, but once they had a sizable advantage, they were able to run away with it and just play phenomenally. You got to give props, especially to Raze. The damage coming out of that Jhin was incredible. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Chiefs 1-1 win their first game of the IWCQ.
Yeah, they made it look a little bit more difficult than we maybe expected. KMV certainly have come to this IWCQ to play. You can see Spooks giving his back a little bit of a scratch. Swiffer, he didn't get the Cassiopeia. Still was able to turn it on the Victor against what was a surprise Vel'Koz, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, definitely.
But Plugo had a couple of nice ultis opening up. Really was just the fact that they didn't fall behind early. They still played with priority around the map, got the CS leads that we're used to seeing them get, and able to pick up the first win. But really do want to give a shout out to KMV there. The Kaos Latin Gamers certainly looking improved from the last time we saw them at IWCT. Really have stepped up as an organization. Excited to see what the rest of their IWCQ looks like. Of course, we're only game 2 done in day 2. There is still so much League of Legends to come. Such
an action-packed tournament, and you can see why the surprise Vel'Koz coming out of Plugo and didn't do too much for them towards a later stage of the game, but kept them competitive throughout it.
Yeah, it certainly did, and I think this is where it went wrong, because you can see that he gets the Bard ult out. All of a sudden, he's tagging everyone up, and he's in the middle of the Raptor pit. I think that right here, if he just opens up on the rest of the Chiefs lineup, I think that it actually goes a little bit better for them. Instead, he opened up on Egypt and wasn't able to grab it. This is where the Chiefs actually turned the game on its head and really started to excel. But, you know, it's just the instant decision. Does he have flash? Does he not have flash? Didn't really get the cooldown. I think I can kill him, but in the end, Egypt flashes away. And Raze here, you know, they went hard at him. They flash body slam in the end. Tried to ult him back in, but he was able to flash away nice and early. Spooks with the GA was able to stay alive. Swiper gets into the fight, but it's really about the Jhin ulti because the Fox flashes up. Raze sees it, knows that he's undefended, and just gets the snipe there. So if Bear had have taken it, he would have died as well. But the Fox gets taken out, and the Chiefs win the team fight.
But Ray's accuracy this entire series long was impressive. He gets this one onto the Gragas as well, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, he's
just waiting there, and boom, takes him out.
Yeah, W comes up, able to pick it up. Swiffer just continues to chase people out. We talked about the repetitive damage that comes out of the Victor once he gets his items. Of course, they're a little bit more expensive. This is the last team fight. And, you know, they once again open up on Ejim. Ray's able to put down so much damage that unfortunately Element fails the flash that probably would have taken him to safety.
Yeah.
And it means that the rest of the team just have to fight a losing battle in the base.
And he comes back to health, come back to life with so much health. The Guardian Angel as well as the Subjugate ticking through that death stasis allows him to, yeah, like you said, if he'd hit that flash, would have had enough HP to get away.
So much to just run away. He just would have booked it out of there. Once again, with a really greedy solo split pushing build. But I respect it because they had a win condition of I'm the only person ahead. I need to be able to isolate the 1v1. Credit to the Chiefs for not allowing him to play towards that. But you definitely understood what Element was going for in his build. Wanted to be able to take out Swiper and just continue to push down turrets. The Chiefs just too good at manipulating the minion waves.
Well, they did a great job of it all game long, and I still think the Vel'Koz pick was very interesting. Unfortunately, it didn't come through for them in the end. I feel like you said, he didn't go for any of that magic penetration, and he wasn't able to get off those procs of the passive. And I like like you said, he should have altered the entire team because it also slows as well as does damage.
Yeah, it certainly does. And, you know, I like the Vel'Koz pick. I think that he justified it. He got down 30 CS, but he stayed there the whole time. So I think that was niche. Moreover, however, I like the fact that Chiefs went back to comfort. Victor, Bard, these are a lot of champions that they've played for a very long time. And you could see that they were just much more confident in that.
Look, that's exactly right. And we got Hingers standing by with our very own Chiefs, taking their first win. Over to you, Hingers.
Now Now by Spooks, jungler for the Chiefs. Congratulations on the win. But it's a messy win, right? It was not as clean as you might have wanted.
Yeah, it felt like we got a pretty solid draft. We got, the picks we wanted. We wanted to have a proactive bot side this game. It was a little bit messy in the mid and late game, and we didn't close as cleanly as we wanted, but a win's a win. So
yeah. So it's got to feel good to get a win on the board. At the same time, though, a lot of times during that game, your opposition was getting away with really low health bars. Is that kind of an execution thing or a shot calling thing? Like, what's going on there?
I guess, yeah, our setups were a bit sloppy, so we didn't have everyone there when we were making a proactive play, which meant obviously we didn't have the extra damage to clean people up. So yeah, it was a bit of a macro thing, I guess.
Yeah, sure. All right, well, moving on though, you've got a second game to play today. You're going to be facing off against Saigon Jokers later on. How do you feel about that matchup going into it?
Saigon Jokers are an interesting team. They're so aggressive. They have 5 just insanely aggressive players, 5 E-gyms basically. So I'm looking forward to it, and if we don't crumble under their pressure early, I think we'll be able to win it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for chatting to us. Congrats again on the win, and it's back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you so much, Hingers. And it must be nice for Spooks to see a friendly face around Sao Paulo.
Yeah, I think that's nice as well. I can't believe he just called Saigon Jokers 5 E-gyms. For those that don't know, they call E-gym a head rammer because he just runs at you over and over again until you die. So I actually think that he's kind of on the money there. Rampage beat Saigon Jokers because they were able to absorb a lot of that pressure early, trade evenly with them. We kept saying it, it was this back and forward tug of war. And then they kind of just wore them out. I mean, if you keep engaging on someone and it's not working, you can start getting desperate. And that's where Rampage kind of picked up the victory yesterday. In saying that, it takes an incredible team to withstand that many attacks. Because as we said, when good teams keep coming at you, that you start making mistakes, and all it takes is one ace into a Baron and the game's unrecoverable. So certainly hope that the Chiefs have done their research in that regard, because I think that Saigon Jokers, we had these flowcharts for them, just keep running at them, kill them, tier 1 turrets down, kill them, tier 1 turrets down, go Baron. That's all that they really play towards. It really is a fight style League of Legends, and I think that it's going to be quite successful. That's the honest truth about it, is that they do it better than most teams.
Well, that's the thing about the Chiefs. They had that aggressive early start that was kind of teetering on the edge of being abysmal, but they were able to salvage it and turn it into that late game team fighting composition that we saw. But like Spook said, they wanted to have a proactive bot lane, and they really made it shine through this time around.
Yeah. In the later game, they did. They had a much better setup with their bottom lane, much more CC and, ability to start fights. But they still got 2v2 killed. I mean, Julio Cito came down there. The Shen ulti wasn't there. Spooks wasn't there in time. And they did both die. So even though they got a proactive bottom lane, there's still holes in their play.
Look, guys, after an excellent game number 2, we are going to go to a quick break. But when we come back,